Today on Gamer's Couch,
Descent, Road to Legend.
Hello! Welcome to Gamer's Couch. My name is Sarah. I'm the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, owner of this channel, wife of this lovely man next to me in the awesome yellow Pixel Ninja shirt. My favorite shirt of his, by the way, and totally unrelated. His name is Daniel. He's just as board game nerdy as I am, so we play a lot of board games. Well, I paint them too, or at least experiences from them, but we also talk board games with each other and with you guys every Sunday on this gaming table couch thing. It's a video podcast. So we talk about Descent today. We will go about it roughly in the same manner as every week, meaning rules and gameplay first, likes and dislikes second, and then funny stories and experiences and a tiny teaser for the next draw for initiative episode. But we will change things up in the first section, games, rules and gameplay, for a tiny bit, being a bit more heavy on the showing you how a turn goes instead of explaining you every single rule that is in the book. Also, we're more heavy on the app way to play it, totally co-op, and not the overlord against the adventurers. And now I will let my husband talk and look nice while he explains rules and gameplay to the point until he says, "Wife, roll the dice." Go.
First, I want to be commended because you actually were able to do the intro without me saying anything.
You will get a very lovely dinner for that tonight, and it's gonna include pasta and prawns, which is two of your favorites. So that's my kind of thank you for you not screwing up my intro. I'm so proud of him. There's hope, folks.
All right. So this time talking about Descent is a little bit of a weird one because we actually have not played proper Descent. I mean, apart from going down and taking the trash out.
That's your part.
So we haven't played this in the traditional, you have an overlord and 4 heroes, and the overlord takes care of all the monsters. In fact, if you watched our video about Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, that is also now app-driven, we were curious because we actually really like the app integration there, and I said, well, I've seen that for Descent there's also an app available, and maybe we should pick it up and talk about it.
Yes.
This is the now, where we will now talk about it. So, to give you a brief overview, I will not go into the Descent rules that much because, quite frankly, that would be a video in its own regard, and I don't think we have a particular interest in just playing proper Descent. At least I don't see that happen anytime soon.
Well, there's one circumstance that I would be interested in that, and that would be that we have finished all the campaigns that come with the app.
Yeah.
Then maybe yes, and there is no new ones coming up, but otherwise not yet.
Just to give you an idea where we're coming from, we actually were looking forward to have another pure co-op game that has a little bit of fluff and story, and in this case even a campaign, while, well, taking a bit of the work off our hands and doing that in an app. So let's take a quick look at the app itself. If you join me on our setup here, so you can just grab the Descent app and take a look at it. It is essentially, well, you're a game master for this. You set it up by punching in your collection, and there's a big difference to Mansions of Madness. Obviously, there's already a lot more out there than for the 2nd edition of Mansions of Madness. Monsters of Madness are typically they're...
I infected you, honey. I have to interrupt very shortly. This week was horrible for me. I was not able to say Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the correct word order.
It's Agents of Marvel.
Of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, what? And now you do. I infected you with that disease. You poor guy. I'm so sorry about that.
So since we specifically picked up just the base game for this to give this a try, I don't actually own any expansions. That's why you see.
And by I he means we.
Yeah. So when you only see the base game Journeys in the Dark, there, although we have the German version, it wasn't really super difficult to set it up. I actually was under the impression that the app was already translated, but that seems to be something that's coming up sooner. Well, we'll find out. Also nice touch, the little experience bar down here showing you your overall progress to owning all that stuff. Now, what I can say so far is that the campaign, so the reason why you would enter these is that the campaign on the app can then draw monsters for encounters from all these other expansions and mix things a little bit up. But as far as I know, that is pretty much all what this is being used for. So it's kind of, I'm a little bit hesitant of diving into getting all expansions because you kind of, just for getting the new monsters and new heroes, I would more be looking forward to actually having a little bit more of, well, adventures and campaigns in there. But let's go back. So once you start a game, you just would say new game here and then decide which of your campaigns you want to play. Currently, there's the Rise of Goblins and Kindred Fire campaign that you can select. What we are going to show you is a scene from the tutorial which comes with the Rise of All Goblins campaign. So very minor spoilers, I guess.
Well, no story spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really nervous about that, then forget everything we've said. Go and grab this. There's actually, essentially, if you have Descent, you don't really need much more, just the app, so give it a try. And if you're not, this is a minor spoiler, but if you are worried about the campaign and even the tutorial is considered a spoiler for you, then
Happy Sunday. See you next week.
Take my word for it, and I'm less mean than Sarah. I do like this, and
what do you mean?
I thought that it was picking up for. You should go away then.
No, I said happy Sunday to you and see you next week, because I don't want to. If a tutorial with what comes there as information is a spoiler, then people shouldn't watch it, because that's not what they came for. So I nicely said goodbye and see you next week.
So what I'm doing is I'm loading up a scene from a campaign we specifically started for this.
I created it this morning.
Here. And
I'm so awesome.
Now I have to, actually there's, it did not save that I clicked through these tutorial messages, but this is essentially the app. So you have your heroes on one side, you have monsters on the other side. The way the game works is it gives you some fluff text and explains a little bit and says why are you here? And then tells you which tiles to put aside. And during the play of the game, you will explore the dungeon. So in this, we already set up the entire dungeon to give you an idea what that looks like. But effectively, if you are doing that, you would explore by going through. So technically, there's a door over here that we had opened just before. We kind of fast forwarded into this here to give you an idea how then the interaction with the entire thing works.
The interesting part.
So if you are really eagle-eyed, you can see that you don't see monsters or heroes on the app. So very similar to Mansions of Madness, and I will do a lot of this comparison work because kind of that was what brought us here.
Yeah.
And I just assume that you're with us in chronological order. If you're not, I'm terribly sorry to kind of make reference to something you may not have seen, but seriously, you should start from the beginning. Go back to 2014.
We are at
15?
Episode 90. We are almost at 100 episodes. They're all almost an hour.
Start date.
Started something, yeah. So if you don't have anything to do, well, go back to number one.
So also similar to that
Sorry.
other app, you have points of interest or things you can interact with, and the app will tell you to set that up. So in our case, we already set this up with these search tokens here or a point of interest there, which you can click on, and then you could technically interact with that. I'm not doing that right now, because that would actually require me to stand there and to do then an action. So one of the things that technically seems to be different, although I only know that from reading the rules for the regular game, is that the turn order is a little bit different. So if you are used to Descent, you should be used to the point that you take turns for each side after one another. So one hero turn, or the heroes go, and then the overlord goes, and then the heroes go. Here, you take a turn, and then you would click on your icon and say your turn has ended, and then the monsters get a turn. So if that sounds familiar, then the reason for that being is you've seen this in Imperial Assault, which is kind of one of the other implementations of the Descent system. And there's a lot of things that are very similar there, not only the dice, but also in regards to rules, movement, aiming, and checking line of sight and all that jazz. So very different to Mansions of Madness. Here you have a grid where you move around and don't have just individual areas that you move to. So on my turn, let's say I am playing the Widow Taha, who is a necromancer for...
And she fits with your shirt. Or did you choose the shirt for
this
your
particular?
color?
No, I did.
That would have been awesome, because I surely did.
So I could do now a multitude of things. Let's just keep it simple and say, as my first action of my two, I want to actually summon my trustworthy undead servant, which happens to be called Ook in all of our games. So I say I summon Ook as my first action. Then I actually want to check out that search token. So let me use, I can use, what are they called? Stamina. I always tend to say stress, because that's what Imperial Assault does it. So of your two main resources, you have your life and your stamina. You take a hit to stamina and can move a point.
I'm sorry, but that was not in screen.
I'm sorry.
You were only half in there. Sorry.
So
I don't want to be.
My character sheet says I have some life, I have some stamina, and I'll take a hit to stamina to move without spending an action. I could have also spent an action, but then I unfortunately don't have an action left to actually search, which I think it might be more efficient if I'm going here and then going over here to search. So say I summon Ook there, and then I want to search, so I click on this thing, and then a chest overflows with knickknacks. I always wanted to get some more knickknacks. It makes you generally more handsome and more powerful to have knickknacks. So I'm searching, and well, I'm not just getting stuff. As you rummage through the chest, you disturb a pressure plate at the bottom. Now I need to test. So one of the annoying things in this game is there's tests. So each character down here has some attributes assigned to them, and I always forget what they are. So I won't even bother. I just check the correct symbol. So it's this I here. I think it's actually observation or something like that, which says I have a 2, which isn't great. It's actually not great. It's almost...
Not to say it's shitty, but it's not great.
It's on the verge of bad.
Oh, come on, honey. It's Saturday morning.
So the way that works is I need to test it, and this is not something happening in the app, but in real life, by rolling dice, I have to roll a black and a grey die, and to everybody's surprise...
Mine especially.
I rolled as many or less shields than what my attribute is saying, in this case 2. So I can actually say pass on this one. And you withdraw your arm just before the chest clamps shut violently.
Ow!
I discard the token. And I find 14 gold. Now, I don't fortunately have to carry a pen and paper with me to write that down, because the app actually keeps track of stuff like things you find. Now, tutorial messages continue to pester us, but that's what you get for choosing the tutorial and showing you some of the gameplay. Now, theoretically, my turn has ended, but I still have my summoned Ook here, and Ook really likes to have the monopoly on undead enterprising, and wants to get rid of all the other undead there, mostly the zombie that he's standing right next to. Ook, in his turn, can move, I think, let's check. Ook can, checking his little character card here, move up to 3 turns and has full life, and also can attack, and is essentially treated as a character. So I move him 1, 2, 3. I can move through my friendly figures without problems, but I can move 1, 2 over there. And use my action to attack this gnarly zombie. So let's check out how I can attack. So I would just check here and see, okay, I have a close combat attack, so I have to stand next to the other guy, roll a blue and a red die. I will do that. And that is a surprising good roll. Hang on, let me first show some of the other stuff. So you still have the character cards or monster cards from the base game. In this case, we check out the zombie. It's a master, so instead of the bright colored stats up here, we go for the red ones down here. And this says he has 6 points of life and rolls defense with a brown die.
Oh, okay.
So Sarah will now roll defense for Mr. Zombie, and Mr. Zombie has 1 shield. Now let's check in with Ook again. Since I rolled 4 hearts, that means it deals 4 damage plus one of these search icons, and I have 1 search action on Ook here, and Ook says I can add an additional point of damage. So this is actually 5 points of damage minus 1 shield, meaning our master zombie is taking 4 hits of damage, which in this case is not tracked in the app, as it would have been in Mansions of Madness. Which makes things a little bit more cluttered on the playing field, and I'll have thoughts on it for later when we talk about this, but that's how you do it. Now, I have to inform the app that my turn has ended. So I go on here and say end turn. Now it's the zombie's turn. What's different here is, and this is actually a little bit similar to how the Mansions app is working, you get some behavior lists that you work through and check what's happening. So in this case, it's the zombie group's turn, and the master zombie, so the red guy, is going first. And I just work through these here, and if one applies, I do it, keeping in mind that enemies have 2 actions, of which one would be an attack. So this says, engage as many heroes as possible within 4 spaces of this monster. So since he is already standing next to 2 heroes, technically, Ook and me, this is already solved, so I don't really have to do that anymore and go to the next thing. It says attack a hero. So it has 2 available, and it does not specify which thing I have to attack, so we get to decide what to attack. And since the zombie is irritated by Ook's prowess, he will try to fight Ook again. So now we go back to our cards to find out what do these guys use to attack, and it's a blue and a yellow die. Let's roll that. And he's almost as good as Ook. He's doing 3 damage, but that's not all. A little bit hidden, but there's up here some additional information. So if he would have rolled a search token like this, I would go through this list to figure out what is that search spent on. Also, the entire group usually has a special effect each turn, and these kind of reflect the overlord cards you would have another player play strategically. So this says, after all zombies have activated, Each hero suffers damage equal to the number of zombies he is adjacent to, which is unfortunate for us. So he attacked Ook. Let's resolve this combat example first. Ook unfortunately only has a shield, but no number next to the shield or a die next to the shield, meaning that Ook is just took 3 damage, which is terrible. But he is still undead. I mean,
Present.
still alive undead, something like that. Since I have that master activated. Now it's time for the minion zombies. These could have different activation stuff on here, but in this case, it's all the same. So this again says engage as many heroes. Now we move these 2 guys. It actually doesn't really matter in which order, so I'd say I start with him. Since he wants to move first thing to as many heroes possible, he just moves over 1 space there and then does an attack. I'll skip over that. Let's just assume he attacked me. I either defended or let's say I took maybe 2 damage. And then the other guy has its turn and he moves 3 spaces. He actually can't get too many more, so he just ends his turn next to Ook. And after all have activated, each hero suffers damage equal to the number of zombies he's adjacent to. So Ook gets an additional 3 points of damage, which is unfortunate to his 4 points of life, because now Ook is dead again. And since I am also standing next to 2 zombies, I'm taking 2 more damage. Once that is done, the zombie group is finished and control goes back to us. And now it's Sarah's turn.
And I want to be... first of all, I'm Averick Albright. I'm actually kind of a healer, but I do not like when my fellow adventurers are being slaughtered on the field or have bruises everywhere, and I have to have the bandages with me and stuff. So I want to just strike back.
Pretty sure Ook appreciates the healing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, but you have... How many damage did you take? Lots of... And I don't have the Hello Kitty bandages anymore, so... Anyway, I wanna...
The good thing for Ook is he's not healed properly, but I'm pretty sure a hot glue gun would... I have stuff I can later.
Some epoxy and he's fine. But what I want to do is I want to have my actions be spent with combat. And you haven't said it yet, but since we're 2 players, we do have 1 free... No problem. That's why I'm at the table. I do have to have a purpose too.
Also, this immediately tells you stuff that we forgot. So, just 2 things. If you're just playing with 2 heroes, you get a third, well, not really an action, a third bonus thing you can do. You can either attack a 3rd time. That's just a regular attack. I obviously didn't do that because I forgot that. The other thing is you can heal 2 damage, which actually, even in retrospect, is easily done to remedy that situation. So I'll get rid of 2 more damage. One other thing I forgot is when I summoned Ook, this little card here says I actually have to spend stamina, so I have to take another...
I always want to say stress, it's so bad.
Yeah, I have now technically lost 2 points of life and 2 points of stamina. And now, back to the healing.
Which is, by the way, your German lesson of the day, number 1, Stress, as we say in German with a hard T. Stress is stamina. So, actually, Nick, that was for you.
Stress is not stamina.
In any game that we play that is on this thing, we say it with Imperial Salt, we say it with...
but that's because that stat is called stress in Imperial Assault, and it's called stress stamina in Guessing. But for your German lesson of the day,
the real one,
to do this properly, yes, it is correct that stress. What
is that?
Stress and stress are... So the stress is the German version of stress, or stress, if you can't make up your mind which language you're speaking. Stamina, on the other hand, would be Ausdauer.
Yeah.
which is
what it actually says in the rules in Imperial Assault and Descent. You pay Ausdauer, and we just said, "Oh, I'm totally stressed" when we had like 4 of these icons spent.
I always thought that's called stress if you. Or maybe the tokens are called stress. Maybe I'm just misremembering.
Yeah. But yeah, we just call it stress, and I always want to say stress now instead of stamina. But
Never
I try
mind.
to. Anyway, I'm trying to have my turn done. So I'm taking one of those sweat drops and walk 1 space with stamina to the duty.
Placing it on my brow.
To the duty that is the red zombie, and I do have an iron.
It's a mace.
That thing, iron mace, and I do roll a yellow and a blue die, and if I have these surges, I can stun the duty, but I want to kill him actually. So I'm having my 2 dice. Action number 1, rolling. 3 damage, and he would be stunned. You have to please roll defense for the thank you, goodbye. This is how I roll. Number 1. Now, I do have 2 actions left.
Well, you said first action, but you were actually using your free attack action.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
You still have 2 actions left.
2 actions left, but I wanna slay as many zombies as I want, and I'm not too far away of them.
So you're even more stressed now.
I'm totally stressed, taking too much stamina.
Let me guess, you want to go right into the fray?
Yeah, and I want to slay once, twice. So I'm going with this one first. Again, with my shiny weapon. That is, what is it? It's 3 damage and stunned.
Let's see. Oh, well, he only has 3 hit points, so
Goodbye.
he is obliterated.
Did you roll it on purpose, or did you?
I am just that good with rolling dice for demo purposes doing these videos.
You have to make it real. I'm doing it real as well.
No, you are not doing it real, because
otherwise there would be something like this.
You would have rolled 3 attacks with 3 axes, which, if you are not aware, if you roll the axe, where is it? There.
On the blue one.
On the blue die, you just miss immediately.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. So one other thing that I could do, or that he could already have done. So here's the thing: I have 2 surges and just 1 damage.
Hang on.
But
let me check. So unfortunately, this zombie defended successfully, which means surges cannot really be spent to apply any conditions like him being stunned.
yeah, in this case. But what I wanted to say, even if, well, let's pretend Daniel did roll this, so I would have attacked him.
Let's rewrite history.
What I wanted to say is that my character is really cool, and we haven't explained these 2. So what I wanted to say is that on my weapon with the surge, I can only spend 1. I cannot spend the same thing twice, just like with, the Imperial Assaults and the normal Descent. We know it from that thing. But I do have a second surge, so I could either heal.
Well, you can recover a point of stamina. With that.
Like the sweat drops. Or what I can do is when each hero within 3 spaces of me, and that includes myself, that rolls one of these surges during an attack can get 1 life back. So I could have also done that if I... Well, would have maybe if you wouldn't have defended that badly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And this is probably old news, but just for completeness, showing off, your heroes have these special abilities. Mine would be that I can re-roll 1 of my combat dice per turn, or you also get your hero's action, which is something super awesome. In my case, I can attack 2 monsters at once with 1 action. Unfortunately, if you use these, you flip your character over and then it's gone. So that's once per quest kind of deal, and you have the heal stuff.
Yeah, I can roll 2 red dice. They have the most of the hearts, and each hero within 3 spaces of me and also myself can heal the amount of life that I rolled in combination with the 2 dice.
For the sake of showing this a little bit off, let's assume that attack also was successful and defeated that zombie. The thing you would now do is...
Wait, you first have to say that I'm done.
No, if Sarah would have defeated the zombie, we click on the zombie and tell the app that this group is now defeated. Other options here are you can force activate, so if you actually forgot to activate them or forgot to tell the app that you did not end your turn properly, you can do that. Also, if there are unique characters in here, you can distinguish them. So in this case, we say defeat group. Yay, we defeated the group. And now Sarah's turn has ended.
I'm so done.
But unfortunately, for story reasons I'm not going to explain to you, there are more zombies coming up, and we have to place more around this quest token here, and it's a new round, so we start again. And every time we can decide who gets his turn in which order, and I think that should actually be enough, at least from this basic interaction, to give you an idea what this game is about. You run through here, you have these little story interactions that you can do with. So the next thing I could do is go over maybe here and try to figure out what this story thing is. And it says, okay, you can interact with that and perform a test and then either pass or fail. And we will never find out what actually happened here because I'm not doing that. But there's some more stuff I want to at least show you a little bit. Just in general for the app here, you have a log that lets you read up on stuff that happened over your adventure here. So if you, like me, have the habit of clicking through stuff quickly and then, oh crap, I clicked too far and I have to go back. You can do that. Also, these other icons here are, this takes care or lists your inventory, which is a little bit different from Mansions in that regard. Mansions keeps track of story items you carry with you, but only if you can actually interact with them. So the good thing about this is if I now exit this this adventure, the app still has a record of how much money do we have, what equipment stuff do we have, also what abilities did we choose. I mean, this is a dungeon crawler playing through a campaign, so over time you get experience points and you get your little class upgrade cards, similar to Imperial Assault, but you keep track of that in the app, which is super useful because that means you can wrap this game up and put it all into the box. The only thing that is not stored on here is where your heroes are standing, but I would assume that a quick picture from, well, the device the app is running on, like your phone or maybe a tablet, should be enough to remedy that situation. But that is way less annoying than what we mentioned in Mansions, where you actually have to technically play through the entire thing, and saving your progress is not that great. This is actually working out a little bit better here. But that's not all I wanted to show you. Just going back, there's actually a rule button here which will open up a dreaded PDF in a web browser, so I'm not doing that right now. But that is, almost full rule book explaining...
Printed there.
Yeah, explaining to you the differences between the Road to Legend thing. I took the freedom of just printing it out. It's, there's actually quite a lot in here, but this is in text form, explaining to you again how the bad guys move, how to read the information from the app, as well as some of the minor tweaks and changes that occur to make the thing more interesting or keep it fair. For example, one of the rules here is if you find a treasure, you get to keep the card during your adventure, and you can use that, but you don't get the money for that card afterwards, which is the reason why the app just told us that we found gold when we used that search token, and it takes care of that. So little things like that, which you might want to read up. I'm going out of this campaign now because the other thing I want to show you actually would require us to play through that tutorial. So what I'm doing is I'm going to our campaign that we started. And this is from the second campaign, Kindred Fire. So this is the other thing that you have here, and I won't interact with that because I actually don't want to...
No, we want to play.
I don't want to ruin our campaign.
Yes.
Between your little quests and missions, you come back to this map and you select where to go next. So you can actually select which side mission you want to go on, if that sounds familiar. Again, Imperial Assault has a similar thing there. It tells you how much time you have left until your next story mission goes off. So in our case here, it says begins in 3 weeks. And we have one side story up there that we could travel to, which would take us a week. Alternatively, we could go to Tamalier, which is the town or the city center in this, which allows us to buy new equipment and do some more stuff. If you were wondering what this number in the top here is, that's our morale. And the way that you lose the game in this is a little bit different, I guess, from the traditional Descent Overload variant. So in this, you have, whenever a character dies or is incapacitated, so meaning you lose all your life points, you still remove that mini and place your little icon here so that other players can help you up and kind of, so to speak, resurrect you or bandage you up. But if you do that, you have to tell the app, because then your morale gets reduced by 1. If your morale goes down to 0, you lose that adventure, and that's
not good.
You're dead. Going back to Tamalier refreshes your morale. We actually found out that you can have more morale. It's if you gain morale through good deeds or stuff like that, you have a free death, so to speak, like a little extra life that you picked up. And that's, I think, pretty much it. It's a dungeon crawler. I would assume that you're familiar with that, but the app takes care of most of the stuff, but not everything. You've seen we had to take care of the minis, had to move them around. You still roll a lot of dice. It is, I think, very similar in that regard to how Mansions is doing that. So it's... I would say it's similar to Mansions in regards to that it's it feels a little bit video gamey in some regards, with story being delivered through the app and giving you interaction points with that. But it is certainly different, which I don't want to go into deep, because I'm pretty sure that we will mention a comparison now in our likes and dislikes.
Yes, very much so.
Do you have anything else you want to highlight from how to play this, or something that...
No, it all belongs into the likes and dislikes section, what I want to say about this game. Okay. And, in the funny stories experiences.
Then I think we are good so far.
Yes. So let's hop into the likes and dislikes. I want to start off because if I remotely say something that is not to my husband's liking in regards to how much I praise a game, he can remedy that by talking after me and making things better. I'm black and white. I'm black and white. There's with board games in real life, there's lots of grays that are in the spectrum of my like something or I don't, or how I live and stuff. But not when it comes to board gaming. I'm black and white. It's awesome or it's not.
Would you agree with me that all your grays in real life are either very dark or very bright?
No. I do have everything. To all the painters out there, or the coloring art to other artists. I do have something, my grays are from C1 to C10, and now all the Copic people are like out there. I hope you liked that. Anyway, so, but when it comes to board gaming, I'm very much black and white, and it's not gonna change, folks. Live with it. Here's the thing. There's very, very, very many things I like about this game, and then there's things that I love about this game. I haven't found so far a thing that I disliked. What? I cannot see. I'm not wearing... Oh, that one. No, that's fine. That reminds me of Imperial.
Please continue.
Yeah, please keep on not interrupting me. You did so well in the beginning. I'm proud of you.
I'm super not interrupting.
Yeah.
But I may make faces.
Yeah, that's fine. I cannot see them on the app that we look at. It's under the camera. I can't see because short-sighted.
By the way, this is more about the app. I will now still hold up some of the art stuff because I think we won't be doing a proper review of Descent, and I think whatever we're saying here now would also apply to this, because if you've seen our Imperial Assault stuff, we very much like these types of games and play them.
I expect that the quality of the Overlord versus Adventurers game of Descent is as good as Imperial is. So I'm just assuming, and by reading the rule book, I think we do have enough of information to assume right in the way by comparing it to Imperial. Anyway, don't hold the things into my face. I will post editing be not fine. Anyway, this is so distracting. The things that I like is, well, for one, when you open the box, it's a typical Fantasy Flight game, meaning quality is good, components are sturdy and well produced, artwork is gorgeous, or at least nice enough to get you into any campaign story mode. And with this one, it was actually gorgeous. It felt very adventure-y, not so much the science fiction, but really more the we're going to go on a quest and we're adventurers and we crawl through dungeons. And I liked that a lot. It got me into the mood right away. It has a very nice color scheme, I have to say. There's coming to the paintery stuff, there's very nice turquoises and blues and purples and some of my favorite tones of yellow. There's a lot of yellow in this game, and that's always awesome with me. That's so I just liked it from the point of looking at it, touching it before even getting to play. And I really like the minis. I'm very happy that they decided not to have painted minis, but just white ones, red ones, gray ones for depending on what kind of a mini you have there, if it is the troops, the master, or the players. And I really like that. They're well done, and I think they're even well done enough so that you could paint them if you wanted to, but they have enough of a presence on the board that I say, okay, they don't have to be painted to be cool in an adventure, but if I would play this as a campaign over and over again to the point that maybe this is the only campaign game that I own, then maybe I would say, oh, paint them if you played like 5 times a week. But I think we're not gonna, because, well, he has like shitload of minis to paint for other games. But I liked what came with the game. Now, going to the app, I have to say I love this app. For one, the first thing that it does when you open a new game is it asks you, do you want to play on normal or on super hell difficult mode, which is one of the things that I did not like with the Mansions of Madness. There was no scaling there for difficulty, and I really like that it is happening in this app. it's just, oh yeah, you can choose. You can actually play this very, very, very well with 2 adventurers only. You don't have to go with 4 and have a person play 2 characters just to be able to get through the quests and the campaign. No, you can actually play with 2 and still have a very good fighting chance. And if you play on hard and it is too difficult for you and you are, well, frustrated, go back to normal. There is something there that you can play it and have a nice experience. So I really loved that about this app. What I also liked, but that you cannot hear in this video because of audio things, and well, I don't want to have any copyright questions asked. There's a very nice ambient soundtrack working while you play the game. It's like in the background you have certain tones and stuff that get you maybe a bit more in the mood for the campaign that you're at, and I really liked it. That was very sweet. I liked it even more than the Mansions of Madness one, though I really liked that ambient, like scary kind of a feel there too. But I really like the chirping birds, and you go through
like echoey water drops as if you would be in a dungeon. I
really like that.
Unfortunately, similar to the Mansions thing, there is narration, but only kind of as an intro for what's going on in the adventure. During the adventure, you have to read or have to designate someone.
I didn't find that bad.
The way,
but you are a good reader.
We did this as with all these kind of app-driven games. Unless you need to hold it in your hands for a particular player, usually it's me or someone else having this app in front of them all the time and just being
like the game master. And it worked very well for us, but I really liked it, and I was like, oh yeah, you have the chirping birds and the water drops, and you have the sounds when you open a door and stuff like that, or rumble of stones or whatever. It's very nice, and it's in the background enough that you recognize it, but it's not overshadowing your gaming experience. It's really background ambient things going on, and I like that a lot. What this game actually reminded me more of, though I very heavily compare the app to Mansions, is actually Imperial Assault. The game itself, the board, not the app, because there is none.
That's because Imperial is kind of based on Descent.
Right. Remember how much I loved Imperial?
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty much the same feeling. It is like playing Imperial co-op, and I very much like that. I'm almost to the point I say I love that. And for the app working pretty well with us. I mean, there's 2 minor things that you really have to make sure to play the monsters right. You have to read up, you have to read the lower parts and stuff. That's the only thing that you really have to take care of, and you have to be, really reading there to not play the monsters wrong. But I think it was quite manageable. I didn't hear any, potty mouth on his part while he was the app master, so I assume that it was done enough. And
there's some minor little things. When I said there's a log that tells you what has happened, some of that information is not. You cannot find that out through the log at all, so that is lost. So. For example, if you forgot the special effect for a monster group and then just said, okay, we're done here, then going back and figuring out what that does won't be available. So technically, I don't see why they are not logging that, because that would be just one minor additional text line. But maybe they thought that was too much or too overwhelming or too
maybe or it's to the point. That is more a general thing than how much does the app do for you? When is it an app game and when does it still feel like a board game? And there's a certain line that every gamer, I think, has a different line for the points like, this is a board game still. No, this is an app and not a board game anymore. So maybe they just wanted to be a bit more conservative and more board gamey, which would
I think
explain why you still track the damage for monsters on the board and not in the app, maybe.
Yeah, but the thing is in the app, so it's just they could just also.
I get it. I wouldn't mind, but maybe that's why. I'm just saying.
That's the only gripe I had with that, if any at all.
Well, what I liked is that it did run smoothly. There was no hiccups or anything, so that was done well. Right. I hope they will bring new campaigns to it sooner than later, because if they, I might have kind of a feeling if the next campaigns just come out in, let's say, like a year. If it's more like 2 to 3 or 6 months, I would even go to say 9 months, that's fine. But if I have to wait for new campaigns for a year, it's just like,
I think
I wouldn't play this game until then.
Road to Legend was released in May of this year. I might be wrong, but I think it was certainly this year before Mansions. But not super long before Mansions was released.
So I hope by end of the year, maybe December or January 2017, they would come up with maybe 2 more campaigns. I would really like that. That would be something that would keep this game on the table for me. Quite regularly, let's put it this way. At least for a 2-player campain, just the 2 of us.
We're probably playing. Also not the type of players who replay the same campaign.
No.
So we worked through that once and then...
Yeah, you saw our campaign group. So the Royals, that's the 2 of us for the Goblin campaign. Then we have the Team Opossum, which is all of our gaming group on the Goblin campaign. And then We the Kings, no, not the band, though they definitely inspired that name. We the Kings are playing the 2-player Orange campaign. So once we are done there, I think we are just...
Kindred Fire.
Yeah, we will wait for new campaigns. But I'm definitely going to wait for new campaigns, meaning I'm not going to forget about this game. It might be shelved after the campaigns are all played through until new ones come out. But I will be... maybe not so patiently wait for new campaigns there. And I think that tells you how much I like this game.
Yeah, there's not that much to add. I mean, base game stuff. I already like the minis because they are of higher quality than the Mansions of Madness minis. They're on kind of same quality level as the Imperial Assault stuff, so a little bit more detailed, harder plastic. That's actually nicer, at least for me, to work with if you're painting that. Specifically to the app and the campaigns in there, I would almost go to the point to say I'm pretty sure that this app and the Mansions of Madness app were not sequentially developed, but actually
they weren't.
Done by two teams who had contact, because I see there's cool stuff in both apps, which I actually would like to see in one combined approach to these. That said, I'm pretty sure that Fantasy Flight will figure that out as well, and going forward for other games will find a very good combination of that. So things I like here, I already mentioned that you have multiple save slots for your different groups and campaigns. Now you could make an argument, well, in Descent you have a campaign and you're supposed to play it over multiple sessions, whereas in Mansions of Madness you just play one turn, but one round. But considering that there are 360-minute adventures in Mansions, maybe not everybody is able to table that in a single day. So that's very nicely done here. what I and maybe we haven't gone far enough in the campaign. What I actually liked about the mansions stuff a little bit better is this is Descent is fairly linear in regards to here's your dungeon, here's your objective, and you just go kind of from start to end. I really enjoyed the mansions that they kind of try to flip the objectives a little bit on their heads by saying, and now you are actually more about talking to people or trying to solve things, as in you need to figure stuff out and combine clues and decide where to go. And this is more straightforward. So I would say that Mansions is more for the thinking player, whereas this is for the dungeon crawling.
Yeah, and I think that is because of the theme or the story for the game. This is an adventurer on a quest. The other one is mystery.
Then again, this could be something they decided for their brand to be different. Where I mean, Descent and Imperial, they both are way more tactically. Or have a more tactical notion in miniature placement, how it all works out with the stuff going on. I think I very much liked in Mansions was actually the combat behavior or how the combat resolution for the monsters works, and I'm hoping they are moving that into Descent as well. Reason being, the commands for the bad guys are sometimes a little bit ambiguous, or at least leave you puzzled, and that doesn't make sense. Which I'm fine with if monsters do irrational behavior, because well, if a human is playing them, they're not always doing perfect moves, and sometimes are doing weird stuff. And maybe if you can work it into that, like that goblin just attacked me, but then it ran away, and then as its second thing, it ran back or something like that, which is like, it doesn't make sense. Or sometimes you have a monster that's rushing forward to you and that decides to just hang out there and does nothing, because that's how the stuff goes on. The spot
thing, I found that very weird.
And I think that, at least to me, it felt a little bit nice or better done in the Mansions app, because that very explicitly told you, do you see investigators in your space? If yes, then this happens. So there's less ambiguity about what actually is going on with how these guys behave and how they're doing. It's still not perfect, but I prefer an app that actually would walk you through that thing, saying, and that information is actually here. They could do that. They could just go in and say, well, we will ask you for the conditions and then tell you what to do with that particular guy, and then do that for how long you have your group or whatever going through. That's something I could see benefiting from improving or merging the kind of branches on those different programs. I also very much prefer that the app in Mansions is keeping track of health for the monsters. So I don't mind these little chits here and moving them around, but it tends to be a little bit annoying if you have a lot of monsters and then you try to pile them up and then someone moves and then you kind of move them around. It's just a little bit... It's not a deal breaker for me, but it's always kind of a little bit of a hassle for me.
Yeah, it feels more old school board gamey instead of, hey, I'm playing with an app.
Yeah, but then someone moves against that, and then all those tokens get moved, and it's like, oh, did this belong to him? Is it? Wait, did you just forget to put it away, or did you? Yeah. So, and that is something that an app is pretty good at, keeping track of stuff, and I'm fine with that. Things I really like is that this takes care of your entire inventory and your entire skill stuff. You are almost, you can pick up playing without a lot of preparation. Something I kind of, that is something a little bit annoying with Imperial, for example. If we want to play that, it's like, okay, everybody has his little bag, and you could make the point of saying, hey, you save your campaign as you would do in the app, but here you can save different groups. So whenever we two play a game of Imperial and have also other games with the group going on, we would technically have to keep record of who's using what, and
Sorted. Do you sort it back? Don't you?
Yeah,
because you have more than one campaign running with the same characters.
Almost annoying enough to say, let's play something else, because we kind of want to keep the character in their bags for each player, and so that they...
Yeah. Or we choose other characters on purpose to not mix up the decks there.
Small things that are a kind of bit of a nuisance is if you're buying equipment here, it just tells you what it is and how much it costs. You still have to find your equipment card and look at what it actually does. Also, the costs might be different, which isn't that terrible if you know it, but it could be confusing at times if you're looking at it. Hey, this bow is just 100 gold, and then in the app it's actually more expensive or less expensive.
That is because, well, you play co-op. You don't have an overlord.
Yeah, even if you had an overlord, you would just look at the card.
Yeah, you would look at the card. I mean, why the prices are different in the app.
I think that the app is using that as a scaling factor for how many players are there, how are you doing through the adventure. I'm not sure if they use that as data points to tweak the scale. But
it would make sense.
Talking about difficulty, I am very pleasantly surprised with this. One of our complaints with Mansions was that playing with just two investigators, our two-player co-op game, felt a little bit unfair from time to time, depending on what's going on. This, I never had the feeling that I got screwed over by something I didn't kind of had to account for myself. So if I made a bad decision or if I made a bad die roll, that's fine.
That's not the app's fault.
Looking at me very angrily. But it's not the app. Also, the pacing is a little bit more relaxed here, which is in general less stressful. But I understand that that's one of the selling points or the things you would be looking for playing Mansions in comparison.
Yeah, because it's scary to be under so much timely pressure. Yeah. This is way more, we're questing through the forest. Let's see, there's a flower.
There's time. I'm pretty sure there's time pressure as well, because there are also...
it doesn't feel as bad.
There's also the notion of overload events being played if you're taking too long, but it's less annoying than...
it's less critical, I'd say. And you have to also mention, and that will be in the experiences a bit more, we played on the normal mode, not on the difficult one. So,
but that was what I was looking forward to, like playing a normal game, which is challenging, and this is kind of going into the experience stuff, but I think this is important for the difficulty discussion. It had every time we played, we had points where we're like, oh, crap, I think we're losing this. It's we really need to take a hold of this and that. Or there was never like, whoa, we just steamrolled everybody and everything is super easy.
No.
So it had that feeling of it being challenging, but then after having finished an adventure, it was like that was surprisingly easier than it felt while playing, leaving open space for playing.
We're gonna talk about that a bit more in the experiences.
Yeah, but leaving at least to me space open for actually trying hard mode.
Yeah.
Later on,
even considering it.
Mm-hmm. Or replaying that, which is this feels very nicely balanced, and it felt that for our 4-player group as well as for our 2-player plays. Although we have played way more 2-player.
Yes, but I have to say it feels very well scaled for depending on how many players you have. I had exactly the same feelings when playing with 2 and when playing with 4. It didn't feel easier or more difficult or undoable or super easy. We're gonna, like he said, steamroll through the dungeon and ta-da, be done with it next game. Not at all. It's scaled the kind of monsters and the number of monsters super well.
probably, and that's not entirely the app's credit, because the monster groups still are the ones that tell you how many monsters are in a particular group, and unless the app is telling you that something is different there.
I think that is the thing that I would have loved for Mansions of Madness to have included, that kind of a thing, to take the whatever obstacles come, take it from the Overlord versus Adventurers game and not have it be only handled by rolling a die for.
I'm
felt way more random there.
I would assume, and certainly have no data on this, but I would assume that Descent, since it's been out for a way longer time, even
look at all the expansions that were there.
Second edition with rules rewrites or erratas going on, that this is already fairly decently balanced as a proper Overlord versus player game. And the app here came in afterwards and just took over the storytelling aspect of the Overlord. Whereas with Mansions, I would assume that if they had made a second edition of Mansions that is similar to the first edition, where you have an Overlord or have a keeper and investigators, and then brought out an app to automate the keeper, then it might have felt
it feels like first they made the app and then the game around it, whereas this one here first was a board game and then they made the app on top. So it just feels different. We're not sure how it went when it came to developing, but this is what it feels like.
Do you want to rate and then have a final sentence and then we go into experiences?
1, 2, 3. Thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. So that's that.
Yeah, this is a weird thing, because at least to me, because since we liked the app integration in Mansions so much, I said, well, there's also an app for Descent. Actually, I don't have that much interest in playing Descent properly. But is the app enough to justify picking up the Descent base game just as a pure co-op game now, playing with the app? And I'm still super happy with that decision. I think this plays as good as, or I get as much enjoyment out of from that as we've been playing Imperial. And I think the only thing I like a little bit more with Mansions is that it actually supports up to 5 players, which is more our full group limit that we have. So
when we play, we started a campaign with 4 players because our 5th player was on vacation. So what we decided to do, and maybe you have the same thing in your gaming group, is that when we're the full group, him and we're gonna share a character, and he is more on the storytelling kind of but we share decisions for one character to play together.
Since we didn't really just decide to just play with 4 players, but Descent, the app only supports up to 4 player characters, and that's the limitation of having an app to a game that is up to 1 bad guy versus 4 good guys. Which is technically a 5-player game, but I think that would have been too much rewriting rules, bringing in a 5th player character there. But if I had to give a recommendation, if you are looking to a dungeon crawler game that you want to play, maybe specifically like with your significant other in a 2-player group.
Age?
No,
you didn't write.
I think
is it 10?
I don't. Actually, does it say? No.
Because we didn't say it. Anyway.
Let me check the back of the box. I don't think the app has a specific other saying on that. So the box says 14 and up. And
14. Okay.
Yeah, 2 to 3 hours is for if you're usually playing this with a keeper. With the app, it's faster. It's I'm thinking
we had for 2-player we had 1.5 hours.
Yeah, I would say between an hour and 2, depending on how big the mission is.
And how good you are with rolling dice.
Yeah, since the app is telling you what you need and where to put it up, setup is really nice. It's still, to me, that's the main benefit. And what I was about to say is, if you're looking for a co-op dungeon crawler game, this is actually for me the thing I would recommend to you right now. And since Descent has been out for quite some time, it's not as ultra expensive as Mansions is. I think the base box was €60, so that is quite a difference to Mansions second edition. I can't tell you if it is worth picking up expansions just to have a little bit more in this collection here. I might do that, maybe for some of the smaller Lieutenant minis, or seeing how that goes forward. Actually, if Fantasy Flight would come out and say, by the way, here's the Road to Legend expansion box for the guys who just want to play this type of game. You need just the base box, and that expansion box just gives you the minis and stuff you would that the app would use. I would go for that. I would have no second thought and just pick that up and buy that. Similar, if they release more campaign stuff for the app, I'm super happy to buy that. I'm
actually looking forward to more campaigns coming out.
I doubt that they can charge full price as the big boxes, unless it's a really large campaign. But if they would come out with, hey, here's a new campaign, spend $10, I think, considering how many hours a campaign seems to be, I don't know how long the full campaign goes, but we
will find out. Even
for what we've played so far with a couple of missions, I still would be fine paying maybe 15, maybe even $20 for.
We played 4 campaigns for the orange one. For quests that would be about 8-9 hours already. Just the two of us, not talking about the Goblin campaign, just the Kindred Fire campaign, 9 hours already. And plus the other campaign.
And it seems that they're still updating that. So last time when we played our last mission of Kindred Fire, we started up the app and it says, hey, we have new side missions added to this thing, which I think is pretty cool, especially since those side missions or encounters you have on the world map traveling from one area to another seem to be a little bit randomized. That actually takes care of those travel cards you would have in the base game, which I think I really like this. I think that's enough said for.
Yeah, well, one thing that I want to point out is that. Both Mansions of Madness and this app share, and that I kind of want to have for Imperial Assault at one point, is the setup time in the beginning. You don't have the full map set up like you do with Imperial Assault, but you're adding tiles and pieces throughout the game, which makes it super fast to set up. It's like 2 minutes. And if they ever make an Imperial Assault app, I wish that they would include that somehow.
I think that's the main reason it's so time-saving.
Yes, and that they do combine the 2 apps that are out there already, Mansions of Madness and Descent, put it together, take all the good things, and then make the Imperial Assault one. And I will guarantee you that I'm going to ask you to then replay Imperial Assault. Yeah. Just the 2 of us for new campaign.
If there's a wish I could do.
Dear Fantasy Flight, please listen.
With this, yeah. No, because I actually would really like to see the campaign that's in here in an app form. Actually, I didn't.
Oh yeah.
I did not look, but so the titles of these campaigns are different from the campaigns in the app. So I would just assume that they're different. Which probably we are more the niche for that because we haven't played them. That being said, if tomorrow came out an app for Imperial Assault that would just replay the base campaign of Imperial Assault,
we would definitely play it.
I'm full positive we would replay
because
Imperial
then
Assault.
you would play the good guys with us instead of
as
being the dude that plays against us.
Although I really enjoy playing the Imperium and Imperial
forces,
the Empire and Imperium, but that would be really...
And it would be different for us that have played the Rebels to have you with us this time and have a different character added and a different style of playing. So there's definitely, for all of those games, a very high chance that we would replay them if they would bring out apps. Just saying. But let's move into the funny stories and experiences.
And that would actually lead me to buying the expansions for Destin. If I knew that if I picked up the big box expansions that I actually get the campaigns to play with this, I would be there. I'm not sure. I would assume that there's a lot of work involved getting that done. But then again...
not having looked at the expansions and how they play, I don't want to say it would maybe not take a long time. I don't know how they play, maybe totally different. So I cannot speak to how how much work it would be to have it included in the app. I don't know.
I would go so far to say that playing it with that app as a co-op game is refreshing enough for the matter of the campaign to be worth kind of considering it, because it's almost like it would introduce players or get players to play or to pick up that game that probably held off because they are not that big of a fan of that 1 versus 4 or whatever. 1 versus 1. I mean, we do not play those games a lot with just the two of us if there's a 1 against 1, because then we can play competitive games. We don't have to play these kinds of games, but it's even harder to get them to the table if they don't have a compelling story. So for example, I really like Spectre Ops, but it doesn't really get a lot of play in our house because it is one of those.
We cannot play it together, just the two of us.
We can,
but there's other games that are better suited for that. They're the classic competitive games and not a team versus 1. Those games do hardly get any playtime for just the two of us. Yes, we test them before we bring them to the group, but that's that. We play them with the group, and we have lots and lots of games. If you're watching us on Board Game Geek, you might want to check out the game list that we have. Then every Sunday the folks have to play 1 or 2 games with us just to give every game at least some time at the table. And those games, they most often lose because we cannot or we don't play them on date night.
So
just the two of us.
So if we are saying this gets us to maybe replay the campaign, that actually does mean something.
Yeah, and also saying if you integrate stuff from expansions here, we would be buying those. That says a lot too, because though we own a lot of games, we're pretty picky about what we invest in and what we buy and what we invest our money when it comes to lots and lots of expansions.
A fantasy site, Heidelberger Spieleverlag. We also take them for free.
Yeah, that too. But I would very much like to buy them.
Yeah, so far
retail price and all, and support.
We've bought all of our games. I don't think that will change anytime soon.
No, but that's one thing. I actually, yes, they cost money, blah blah blah. But I like to buy them and support the publishers and the authors with retail price and everything, because there's a lot of value for me in what they did put together if it's done really well.
Also,
I take my money, I want to pay you.
Also, I'm, and this is more like review philosophy, although I always say these are not reviews, but more.
No, we're a video podcast, just pure opinion there.
But I think there is always a certain value of hearing someone's opinion who actually bought the thing.
Yeah. There's no perks.
I don't think we are the super critical, the critic, so to speak, when it comes to that. But Yeah, I don't want to...
No, but that's a very valid point. There's no perks for us. It's just our plain opinion, and we say it unfiltered. And if we like something and if we love something, we will praise it. And if we don't, we won't. So,
not meaning I don't appreciate a critic who knows a lot about game mechanics or game design to look at a game through that angle.
But that's not what we are.
Criticize that.
They have a place, and we have a place, and... That's that.
Our place is here at the table.
Yes, and let's talk about the funny stories finally. So,
shut up.
One thing. No. I mean, this is what we do in the video podcast. We sometimes go on a tangent. You might understand other things of us better if you know where we're coming from. But one thing that I remembered, and that sometimes made me smile. Sometimes it made me, oh my god, we have to replay that whole thing because we're going to lose so badly. And then it's like, woo, we didn't. You see there's a lot of dice. And if you know us for a while, we do or do not suffer. Well, sometimes suffer, sometimes not so much, from Wheaton's disease when it comes to dice rolling. And we had... at least 50% of the 2-player campaigns. So that would be 2 quests there where, if he rolls the hero, I roll the monster and vice versa. And I was horrible, super horrible with rolling dice for the monsters.
You were super good.
Yeah, but not for...
amazing rolls. Sarah has a talent for...
I'm so horrible at that. I can roll 1,500 shields for monsters, but not one for us. And when I have the tests here, last game, I had to test on the fist, and another test was... the star, so 4 and 2. With 2, yeah, of course, I'm gonna suck there.
I just showed you how that works.
Yeah, but even with the 4, I thought, maybe I can do it there. Guess what? I was never so far able to roll 3 shields. Which camera am I gonna take? This one there. 3 shields for defense. No. Maybe 1. Most often,
0.
None. But when I roll those dice for tests, let me tell you, I managed to do this when I just can have 4 or 2. And I can tell you one more thing. I go straight to Gamer Tourette. It's very hilarious for my husband. It's not for me.
I'm always very, very complimenting. I always say, good roll.
Yeah.
That's
I was actually thinking about just having the camera running when we play on date night, but we play in German. So it wouldn't be as genuine and funny to have the camera rolling and us talking English. You would have lots of German lessons of the days, but sometimes I want you guys to see unfiltered what, excuse my French, shit I'm able to roll in these kinds of games. Last Wednesday I was dying because like 10 rolls in a row. I was so horrible with rolling dice, and him always being the smirky guy, like, good roll, honey. He's like, I want to strangle you. Be upset with me. And he's just like, yeah, honey. That's awesome.
Sometimes you just have to, give compliments to your opponent if he is superior in rolling. What is entirely luck based.
You could give me a compliment if I would be able to roll those high shield numbers for my character, but no. Then I'm having double 0. It's like, nope. Not gonna happen.
I also am not that great with rolling dice, and in fact, if you want a blue die, I'm happy to.
Yeah, we have one for sale.
We can part of that blue die because that axe is really annoying. Although, to be fair, it tends to be in our favor as well when the monsters
Yeah, we had
it
a couple of times for the monsters, especially for the elementary. I have
to say the reason that Ook has a name and comes up is because Ook in our 2-player games is actually the MVP, the most valuable
undead
MVP
player.
He's
a person to us. He has a name.
He's the most valuable MVD because his dice are always like really rocking. He
rolls these 2, and he only once in 4 campaigns, only once he has had the blue axe.
I can roll the Widow Taha with her magical wands. She can dual wand for all I want, but she's not hitting anything because it's either the range doesn't hit or not enough damage. Then you do damage, but they have enough shields. So even if you have some,
because I rolled them,
if you have some surge, it's gone. But if Ook is showing up, Ook is consistently dishing out like 6 damage or something.
And
like
funny
that.
enough,
and always dying immediately the next turn, which is
funny enough. I still roll the defense dice when Ook is like the attacker, but there I'm not dishing or I'm not rolling any or hardly any shields. So I don't know what it is, but I think the Hello Kitty Band-Aid on Ook is making me want to keep him alive for as long as I want subconsciously. Though I kill him every 2 turns.
I'm pretty sure your dice curse is just because you
be Ook?
You think that Ook is actually a monster because he's
he
smells a little bit weird.
Yeah, he smells funny, but anyway, maybe I just don't want to kill your companion. He's your friend. He's like your stuffed animal you take to bed at night to not have any bad dreams, but I think that's
he's not a duck.
No, he's a duck. Dice Ook. No. But I think the best experience actually was last Wednesday for me. We played 2 quests in a row. We had a lot of I made sure I was having lots of time on Wednesday. We just had pretty cool circumstances for playing 2 quests in a row. And it was so much fun. Again, the rolling dice thing is the most hilarious thing when it comes to playing board games with us, especially if we're on a quest and we want to be good and not lose. It's like...
But typically, some quests we just want to lose.
No, but other games we are not as
the stakes are
clenched up when we maybe don't have the great die roll.
The stakes are also a little bit higher if it's
stakes. I'm hungry.
If it's a campaign with story and
stuff. Yeah, very much so. So Wednesday was really cool. It's the saying, the only thing that was not cool was you complimenting me. You should have been upset together with me. We're a team.
I know you didn't feel like totally not passive aggressively doing the good roll.
His face, you should have seen. He has like half of this face has a funny smirk and like honey, I'm so sorry. I feel with you.
No, the other has a half a stroke and
the other one is, for God's sakes, wife, can you please be in our team and roll a bit better? Yeah, so it's kind of painful, but then also funny to look at him. When I'm
not funny to look at her rolling down.
No, because I'm just like this. It's not
we've
nice.
Won despite Sarah.
Yeah, which says a lot. But I think we have talked enough about this game and should wrap up. Wrap up. By giving you a tiny teaser for the next Draw for Initiative video.
Let me see if I can figure it out.
Which is a very special one. It's number 30. And that means we do something special and not according to the regular plan.
Ooh,
I'm not gonna tell what it is.
It's a painting.
How could you have known?
Yes. See you then next week. And
no.
What?
You have to give him a chance to guess.
Okay.
So, I do like the universe that game plays in. I definitely want to play it again, and possibly also the expansion that if I remember correctly, is ordered. But my first experience with that game was not great. There were circumstances that made me not feeling like I'm playing a game. It has a lot of very colorful minis as well. And they are quite sizable, some of them.
I was really thinking like, expansion? What game did we have an expansion? But no, I do
No,
know.
we don't have the expansion, but I think you ordered it,
Yes,
right?
I now know which game you are talking about.
Well, great. Can you let me know if you know the rest?
I was about to say Kingdom Death, but we already got all the expansions for that here.
Yeah, and it's also painted. That was number 20.
No, actually, there's still an expansion on its way, I think. For Kingdom
is
Death.
it?
There's like the Lantern Festival. So it could have been Kingdom Death.
No, that was number 20. That was art video number 20.
It's certainly a game. So let's try our big Venn diagram of what could be in the game, and that this tells us what game it is. Does it have zombies?
No, I don't think so, no.
Actually, I think it has some zombies in there.
I haven't seen any.
Maybe. Could have been. I'm not super sure. It could be. Does it have elder gods in it?
Oh, yes.
And the third, does it have trains? Or trading in the Mediterranean?
No.
Okay, so that gives you a very
How would you?
that gives you a very good idea of. Does it come with medieval victory points?
No.
It does have victory
Not
points.
the medieval ones. The evil ones, yeah,
No,
yes, but not the medieval.
No, victory points are always medieval.
You were so on point with the elder gods, and everything that came after that just confused me.
Is it so? It's elder gods. Is it about a conflict?
Oh, yes.
Is it about the conflict of all conflicts?
Oh, yes. Marriage. No. Sorry, had to put that in there.
No, you took my joke.
Oh, no, yes. Oh, for God's sakes. Elder God's sakes. Oh, babe.
So it's Eldritch Horror.
No.
Risk with Cthulhu.
Maybe.
You never played Risk.
Yes, you know that. Why do you
But-
always put it out there and try to...
But now that I said Risk with Cthulhu, you should have a very good idea what game we are talking about. And Sarah would say yes if she knew that that game is very similar to Risk with Cthulhu.
Well, it's risky things that go on there. Anyway, come back Wednesday for this very, 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 very special episode of Draw for Initiative. I'm gonna tease one more thing. It's gonna be longer than the other ones, but that is just because it's a very special episode, and well, we do something different with the paintings there. So have a schedule on your calendar. 9 a.m. on Wednesday, 9 a.m. CET that is. And the video will be out, and you can see what we were teasing and talking about. Or maybe you know it already. Maybe you want to let me know or us know in the comment section. That would be a thing. Or you could leave any other questions or comments there. And, well, let us know what you think. If you want us to change anything, like talk like Cthulhu maybe all the time. Lucky for you, by the way, we never record on Tuesdays. Otherwise, next week, the whole video would have been Talk Like a Pirate. Totally unrelated. That would be
difficult to watch.
Yes. So, good for you. We're not recording on Tuesdays. Have fun, everybody. Do all the good YouTube stuff like, share, subscribe, as per usual, if you feel so inclined. We would appreciate it. Blah. We would like to talk. We would appreciate that. a lot. Have fun, everybody. Happy
Blah.
Sunday. Blah. See you next week. I have to go now. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, for God's sakes.